Outer Wilds, the open world space exploration game where you don't progress and death is merely a setback. There, I just summarized the entirety of the game for you. However, there is a big thing that I believe a lot of people overlook when it comes to this game. There is a divided yet balanced mix of eager curiosity and emotion-driven culture that seems to be left as a backbone for how this game is as good as it is. I'll be going through this game in its entirety, examining every planet's environments, the phenomena each one brings, and the emotional impact the player will experience on each planet. Each part of the video will have timestamps on screen and in the description. Welcome everybody to Outer Wilds. The way this game starts out is perfect for an open world game. There is a prompt to start, giving the player the eagerness to see what awaits them. The first thing you see, the brightly lit sky full of stars, and the green orb with the blue light, and you're already questioning what the hell is going on. So let's take a step back, shall we? The game has a rather soft opening, allowing you to see what you want, and discovering as much as you want at whatever rate you want. You can talk to everyone and interact with the environment to your heart's content. Or you can be a speedy boy and take a shortcut to the museum. This also allows you to examine and observe as much as you want, allowing you to establish your place in the world in as much information as you wish. While most of the NPCs and things you can interact with are blown over, they can be really important, simply for the fact that they seamlessly teach the player how to play the game without being in the hand-holding department. You can waste hours just in the starting area, appreciating every detail and discovering every nuance there is to discover. Now on to the museum, the one part of the game that can carry so much value but with so little context. When you first start out, this place contains a plethora of information at the ready for the player. But there's a catch. There's a lack of context that playing the game will fill in naturally. This especially applies to the Nomai statue. All you are told is that it's one of the only intact ones that has been found and nothing else. Despite that, it still gives a nice overview of what is to come without ruining any of the experience in any way. Once you get the launch codes and begin to head towards the ship, the most important part of the game happens. The statue activates and links with you. This alone is what allows the core function of the game to happen. The function being the time loop. No explanation, no apparent reason, just all of your memories being saved in an ancient cloud storage. But this is important for other parts of the video, so we'll worry about it later. Now off to flying the ship. The moment you press the elevator button, you're in the deep end. There's no more benevolence, no more comfort, no more secure feeling of being around friendly faces. Just you in the vast open space. You strap in, you check the landing cam, take one last breath and activate the thrusters. The atmosphere is breached, and you've now been liberated to explore. The music kicks in, the setting is perfect. What once was thought to be a terrifying place to navigate has become a place of sheer curiosity. Nothing holds you back anymore, not even death. Just sit back and listen for a minute. Maybe get a couple marshmallows while you're at it. Ash Twin, the planet of sand, with much to explore under the surface. If I were to describe the atmosphere this planet brings in one word, I would say boring. From the very start of each loop, there's nothing Ash Twin has to offer. It's a bland orb of sand. Sand falls to Ember Twin in the giant sand column. As this happens over time, some structures begin to emerge. Some lore can be revealed about these structures on their own, but for the most part, other planets fill in the gaps. These structures are warp towers, each design representing the receiving planet to each one of the towers. The gimmick here is the warps only activate when the towers align with the receiving end on the targeted planet. The core of Ash Twin is also accessible, but that topic's a little more important for later on. Ember Twin is the planet on the opposing end of the Hourglass Twin orbit. Ember Twin is the polar opposite of Ash Twin. Almost no sand, rough and rocky terrain, and a large canyon on the equator that stretches across the entire planet. As the name Hourglass Twin suggests, the sand that rises into the massive pillar on Ash Twin is falling as a beam of death to Ember Twin, serving as a mere nuisance to the exploration. Not only that, but the planet is filling with sand constantly. If I were to describe the atmosphere in one word, it would be anxiety. In contrast to the patient waiting required for Ash Twin, you're on a strict time limit on Ember Twin. Traversing the weaving tunnels can lead you being trapped by the sand if your path is uncoordinated. On the bright side of things, we can meet our first Hearthian that's not located on Timberhearth, Chert. Chert plays a fitting tune for Ember Twin, a wooden drum with the bass of a large drum and the rattling sound of a snare drum, all coming from the small egghead that studies the stars. There's quite a bit of lore to this planet, but we'll hear about that soon enough. The start of it all for the Hearthians. If I were to describe the atmosphere in one word, it would be bittersweet. The beginning village presents so much enveloping comfort that this planet seems to be a safe haven. However, the rest of the planet is a smooth orb of grass and occasional patches of trees. There are many mysterious ruins and areas with little explanation. There's even an entire underground water system that supplies all the geysers with all the water they need. There's so much that's hidden from you at the start, it almost creates an atmosphere of distrust. Timber Hearth can even be deadly in some of these hidden areas. Other than that, Timber Hearth seems to almost be a waste to me. Even though there are Nomai ruins to explore, I feel there could have been a lot more lore associated with Timber Hearth. Maybe even have some information blocked off and some items on other planets would unlock it. Just a thought. The Attlerock is one of the most interesting yet lackluster places in the game. If I were to describe the atmosphere of the Attlerock in one word, it would be historic. The Attlerock carries one of the first pointers to the goal of the Nomai, and it is where wrecked ships would land before things changed and no one really needed to land there anymore. However, this place serves as a good starting point to explore. Other than that, it served as a starter planet, and that's about the only value it carries, sadly. Brittle Hollow. The name says it all, really. A hollow planet, with the core being a fucking black hole and everything is slowly crumbling around you. If I were to describe the atmosphere in one word, it would be tense. At every moment, you're above a gaping black hole, with a stronger and stronger gravity the deeper you travel through the planet. What is interesting is how dynamic this planet is. You have the surface where the planet is normal as you'd expect, but on the inside, there's a completely different area. One with many ways of navigation. Think of it this way. The surface on the planet is constant ground beneath you, at least somewhere, with an open sky. Underneath, there's an infinite fall with a ceiling of rock above. The only things keeping you in contact with that ceiling are the suspended buildings and gravity tunnels set in stone for traversing the innards of the planet. There's a lot of very narrow passages that one slip up can end up with a fall into the black hole. The black hole sends you out through a white hole instantly. On the other side is a place called the White Hole Station, in which you can be warped back with no issue. Hollow's Lantern. What am I even supposed to say? Its sole purpose is to make Brittle Hollow's core gameplay mechanic work. I'm aware there's a bit of lore hidden away, and there's some Nomai skeletons on there, but honestly it's just a mini sun. It barely even provides light to the planet anyway. What is kind of interesting is apparently Hollow's Lantern was so terrifying back then that they thought being exposed to a black hole was safer. Giant's Deep, the big green planet everyone sees at the beginning of every loop. Where do I even begin with this planet? This planet is massive and contains so much that's pertinent to the lore of the game. It's fun to navigate and it's fairly challenging to explore, as you get goddamn hurled into space in a matter of seconds. Now take the concept of a water world. Make it entirely water. Welcome to Giant's Deep. The planet in and of itself doesn't necessarily have any land masses. Everything you can land on are disconnected islands that provide almost no safety or security while you explore them. If I were to describe the planet's atmosphere in one word, it would be soothing. Ironic, isn't it? Calling this planet of pure chaos soothing? Well, I'm not pulling that out of my ass, and I have a damn good reason for calling it such a thing. The moment you enter, it's cranked from 0 to 100 faster than you can gasp to scream. It's loud wind, rain smearing on your cockpit, and the flurry of vicious cyclones ready to kick you out at a moment's notice. So why the fuck did I call it soothing? This should, I believe, be glaringly obvious to any player who has played the game thoroughly. Whenever you are outside, you can withstand all the chaos and white noise with no issue. Yeah, you'll get the occasional getting hurled into space fiasco, but that's besides the point. You have no problem standing outside in the harsh conditions. You stand bare in the face of the most chaotic planet in the game. Try as it might, you overpower the harsh conditions. A lot of this is why I was so excited to talk about Giant's Deep from the moment I even conceived the idea for this video. This planet creates such a stark enigma for what you could imagine a water world being. This is even reflected in the behavior of Gabbro, the only other Hearthian to be in a time loop with you. Gabbro has already come to terms by the time you meet them, and they're completely calm in the face of danger. Even when hurled into space, Gabbro is completely unfazed in every regard. They're even completely aware of the supernova, and they just don't give a fuck. So Gabbro lays down, plays a soft and low tune that contrasts the blaring noise of the environment. They live on their own in isolation, and they're living it well. Probably what's even more fascinating about this planet is the deeper you go, the calmer it gets. I'd say the core is the calmest place on the whole planet. I've talked about Giant's Deep too much, let's move on to the next planet. This abomination in which the deepest depths of hell wouldn't even accept this thing. The anglerfish. I'll get to those things in a moment, but let's talk about the planet. The dark bramble is a strange phenomena. It's an organism that exhibits some terrifying way to take over planets to be used as hosts. The dark bramble originally was supposedly some sort of ice planet, but the bramble grew out from the core and destroyed the planet from the inside out. Once you enter, you'll be enveloped by a thick fog that prohibits your visibility to a staggering degree. Within this space that strangely expanded to accommodate your entrance are more entrances to other pockets. If I were to describe the atmosphere of this space in one word, it would be ominous. This place exhibits nothing but dread as you traverse through each and every space that's even explorable. What this planet does so well to create this dread is the lack of visibility. The name Dark Bramble serves as a warning of the contents within. Not only that, but there is an eerie muffled sound of distorted music, accompanied by not knowing what is directly in front of you. Onto the worst part of the whole game, the anglerfish. These horrid abominations are literally just that, regular anglerfish, like the ones we know from the sea here on Earth. However, they are much more than just fish. These things are massive, able to consume the entire ship with no effort. The one thing that sets them off, any noise of your ship's thrusters within a visible vicinity of the anglers. That's it. And once they're set off, they are booking it at you with almost the same speed and ferocity of your ship combined with your will to get the fuck out. The Interloper. Honestly, I don't have much to say. The only reason this thing even exists is for the story. The only thing it has to offer is a fairly linear puzzle to get to the core. The puzzle being entering and navigating the tight tunnels and making sure to avoid ghost matter at all costs, as it is literally everywhere. I'm actually not going to talk about this comet until we talk about the lore. The Quantum Moon. You may have seen a strange grey blob occasionally shift in and out of existence. This place, also like the Interloper, serves as merely a puzzle to unlock lore. However, this place also serves as a test for your understanding of the in-game universe's quantum mechanics, in which successful manipulation of the moon's superpositions will yield an interesting surprise. I'll also talk about this within the lore a little bit. The first thing I want to say about the movement, it is absolutely fantastic. A big problem with games is that they're extremely responsive. There's no drag or weight to the way players move, and it can be a detriment to gameplay. On the contrary, if the game tries to be realistic and goes overboard, then you'll lack control and it can break immersion. Outer Wilds accomplishes that perfectly. You have control that's semi-realistic, but at the same time, it's not a detriment to the overall gameplay. It feels smooth. Before I move on, I'd like to mention something about rockets and physics. There's a fairly new company called Gravity. They have made what can only be described as a literal Iron Man suit. It's a suit that has a large thruster on the back and 2 thrusters on each arm. The YouTuber called The Hacksmith has done a video with this suit and described the force of the rockets as spongy.
It's truly insane. The really weird sensation is that it's quite gentle. It's just this gentle, spongy push, almost like holding a fire hose of water.
Alright, so why don't you walk us?
When I compare the controls of the ship, that's all I can describe it as myself. A spongy and soft push, but it carries its own weight and it's affected by the gravitational force of nearby planets. This game does everything it can to provide a realistic and intuitive movement, whether it's on foot or in space. Some sacrifices were made for the sake of making the movement comfortable, such as the player always orientating upright when on a planet. Such sacrifices of realism are completely worth it, in my opinion. From the start of the game, you're equipped with 3 tools: a translator, a signal scope, and a scout. Each of these tools is pretty unconventional, but they work in this game extremely well. The translator is a tool the Hearthians developed. It is used to translate Nomai text into something the Hearthians can read, and it just so happens this text can be found everywhere throughout the game. The signal scope allows you to listen to sounds at a very specific location with a seemingly limitless range. The scout is your best friend in this game. It is your saving grace. It can take pictures, be shot out at random stuff, provide light at its landing position, take pictures at many angles at its landing position, tell you the distance from the scout using a questionable version of the meter, allow for navigation through the dark Bramble, tell you exactly where ghost matter is, and so much more. I swear this isn't an advertisement. One part that makes this game so fascinating is the sound design and the music. Everything sounds perfect. Nothing is out of place. The music serves its environments with ease. The ambience provides fluid exploration. There isn't much dynamic music in this game, but it's not necessarily needed. The biggest part, in my opinion, is the space theme. As you've heard earlier, it reinforces the culture aspect of the game. Everything feels foreign to you, but familiar and comforting. Wherever you go, you're being impacted by new information, but it has that familiarity to it that allows for a balanced experience. A quick message to Andrew Prowlow, the composer for the game, though I'm aware he probably won't see this. How the fuck did you do this? Each sound and song contains such an egregiously ridiculous amount of detail. I'm aware this game took at least 6 years to make, and that's a lot of time to improve the music, but I still don't understand how you're able to compose such a fucking masterpiece. Anyway, moving on. Each planet contains different ways to traverse it, with different challenges in each one as well. The Hourglass Twins provide a large surface to traverse across. However, Ember Twin specifically has many narrow tunnels underground. Timberhearth is fairly bland and simplistic, but that's not a bad thing. It is the starting planet after all. Brittle Hollow is interesting, not on the exterior but on the interior. The closer you get to the black hole, the stronger the gravity becomes. A simple mistake can send you plummeting into it. Giant's Deep has 5 islands to traverse on. 4 of them are constantly being thrown up by cyclones, so only have a limited amount of time on each of them before getting shot out into space. Dark Bramble, it's like a void? A space, I guess? Once you enter, all the natural gravity ceases to exist and you just float with the little momentum you have left. It's not pleasant, but as you can see, there's a diverse amount of environments to explore. Sci-fi's biggest scapegoat: quantum physics. It's pretty well known at this point that quantum physics is used as a way to fill the unexplainable gaps in most sci-fi related media. What Outer Wilds does successfully is that it makes it into gameplay that's compatible with the lore and isn't necessarily a burden. I'm gonna make this very clear. Outer Wilds does not follow quantum physics as it really is. It simply has its own botched version that makes more rational sense and is better for development and gameplay. Let me give you a little tutorial on how Outer Wilds handles quantum stuff. Quantum objects all resonate with a specific frequency that matches across all quantum objects. These frequencies are known as quantum fluctuations. In real life, quantum fluctuations are a physical manifestation. In Outer Wilds, they are a means of identifying quantum objects. As long as you are watching the object or a picture of the object's current state, it will remain there. The moment you lose sight of it, gone to some new location that's within the relative area. The Nomai are an ancient species that roams the gloaming galaxy, with no real goal but to search for knowledge. A signal was detected from a certain Nomai vessel. The signal was nicknamed the Eye of the Universe, and they made an attempt to warp to it for the fear of losing the signal. When they warped, they lost the signal and were instead screwed over by the Dark Bramble. So much so, it got its own node to chill in. 3 escape pods were launched. Number 3 crashed in another node. Number 2 crashed on Brittle Hollow. And number 1 crashed on Ember Twin. The Nomai on Ember Twin made an underground city called the Sunless City to avoid the heat of the sun while they attempted research on how to locate the Eye. You know, that sounds a little interesting. Let's check out the city real quick. What happened here? That's what I would expect most players to think after seeing this place. It's full of dead Nomai, taking part in everyday tasks. Yet all of them seem to have died suddenly, with no warning. This detail will be important later on. Let's move on, let them rest in peace, and talk about the rest of Ember Twin. After more time, the High Energy Lab was developed. It's a laboratory that was constructed to research a phenomena with black holes and what adding more power does to them. The Nomai on Brittle Hollow located the safest ground they could and made multiple structures, such as the temporary settlement, the Hanging City, the Tower of Quantum Knowledge, the Black Hole Forge, and the South Pole Observatory, each used to further research on locating the Eye and understanding the whys and hows of the solar system. Let's take a look here, shall we? Just like the Sunless City, everything is dead and desolate. So much activity went on here, and now it's left to ruin. Yet it seems to be more peaceful. No worries about rising sand. Just the soft hum of the black hole, and the possible occasional explosion that may cause you to plummet down to said black hole. 5 towers were constructed on Ash Twin, each allowing for wormhole-like travel to each planet, except for Dark Bramble, for obvious reasons. After the use of the warp cores, specifically the White Hole Station, A phenomenon was found where the more energy is put into a black hole, the sooner anything entering comes out of the receiving end white hole, which by some loophole allows for some weird indirect time travel. So the Nomai got together to create the Ash Twin project, where they made a machine that can store inanimate and conscious data, and it was completely solar powered. Elon Musk would indeed approve. The Nomai were able to calculate approximately how far back they could send something through a powerful black hole, but they needed a lot of power to do that. Their conclusion, the solar power of a supernova. So the creation of the Sun Station came to be. This made a very polarizing divide between the Nomai. One side praised the idea for its possible success, others shunned the idea for its possible failure. Along with this, the orbital probe cannon was constructed on Giant's Deep, a device that's supposedly capable of firing a probe fast enough to locate the eye of the universe within 22 minutes. The final piece that was created, the statues that linked everything to the mask storage inside the Ash Twin project. All of this is what allowed for the creation of this time loop. First, the Sun Station detected increasing activity within the Sun, thus causing the Ash Twin project to start. The orbital probe cannon fired a minimum of 9,000 times until the eye was located and coordinates were transported 22 minutes in the past. This caused the hatchling to be linked with one of the working masks inside the Ash Twin project. After all of that, the time loop has been made. The Nomai tested the Sun Station, and with complete failure. Soon after, an Interloper comet was arriving in the solar system. 3 Nomai took a shuttle to the Interloper to investigate. Once they arrived, 2 of them ventured in, and 1 stayed behind. After carefully navigating through the tunnels with the Interloper, they safely made it to the core. Quite a sight to behold, really. I guess the log contains a little bit of information. And once that information is put together, we can make an inference here. The Interloper's core burst under the tons of pressure, releasing ghost matter everywhere and killing everything. There is one exception to ghost matter. It does not affect water or anything inside of water. As much as it doesn't appear to be, this is pretty relevant information, seeing as how this explains how Hearthians are alive. Hearthians were originally amphibious, but after the 281,042 years, Holy shit. They have evolved into something more mammalian, moving on to the air, and soon to the skies, and beyond. So on to the endings, starting with the true death. This one's pretty simple. If you weren't in the time loop and you die, well, you are dead. With the advanced warp core in hand, venturing out of the solar system before the supernova kills you, roughly 50 kilometers out, you'll see the supernova in all of its glory. Everything is dead silent. All you hear is the rockets of your ship. All you see is the last remnants of the universe. All you feel is dread. The dread that you were the only thing left in existence. Now beyond the reach of the solar system, you drift through space until your ship's resources are depleted. Once again, with the advanced warp core in hand, venturing to the quantum moon and staying at the 6th location until the supernova happens will result in something fairly interesting. You are still alive? Well, not exactly. You see, similar to Solanum, you have died 5 times because of the other quantum superpositions. Then why are you still here? I'm not exactly sure, but I believe there can only be one superposition of you that is conscious. Things change, however. With no way back, you lose track of your perception of time. How long have you been here? Minutes? Years? You don't know, but it seems your journey has reached its end. You know, I always said as a joke this was the best ending besides the main ending, but with the recent update, I actually follow that statement 100%. I'll get to why that's the case in a moment. This ending requires 3 things: your scout, a linked black and white hole, and quite a bit of power. The way to do this ending is by going to the high energy lab on Ember Twin, either by entering in normally or just speedrunner style. Honestly, clipping is way too easy. Once you're in, link a black hole to a white hole, power it with an entire fucking city's worth of solar power, and do one more thing.
just so obnoxious. It's great.
As we can see with the Ash Twin project, powering a black and white hole allows whatever goes in to arrive before entering. The time of differentiation must not be broken. If you take one of the warp cores while you can see the same scout after arrival and before entering, this duplicates the same object. There was something added in the most recent version, as of writing the script, 1.0.4. Includes a little secret with big implications. For the longest time, we've been able to see the Ash Twin project actually send the data 22 minutes in the past. This is done by the masks sending data up into the advanced warp core. Now you, yes you, can actually go in the black hole. But what just happened? As you can see, 2 points are saying you are here. A little bizarre, right? Traveling back to the Ash Twin project reveals that, indeed, there are 2 of you. But why hasn't Spacetime been destroyed? This actually makes sense when context is added. The Ash Twin project sends data 22 minutes in the past, you have 22 minutes to keep the cycle going. So you actually have to go in the black hole to keep the loop going. If not, you'll destroy the fabric of spacetime because it is no longer possible to enter the black hole. This little secret, believe it or not, actually affects every other ending. If your duplicate self is in the game, all endings are substituted with the destroy spacetime ending. So, we've reached the end of all ends, and you've done it. All you need to do is break the cycle and go there, to the eye. You know the location of the vessel, you memorize the coordinates, the final object you need, the advanced warp core. What you've just done is broken the cycle. No longer will your memories be sent 22 minutes into the past. Once you die, you are dead. With the advanced warp core in hand, you need to head to the Dark Bramble and venture to the vessel as fast as you can. I'm just gonna do that the speedrunner way though, just give me a minute. Alright, now here we are, at the fabled Eye of the Universe. Once you warp to the Eye, you may have already pieced together where you need to go, especially if you've been to the Quantum Moon's 6th location, which you are technically at right now. Go south. A swirling vortex is the source of the strongest quantum fluctuation signal. With no other option, you jump in, knowing nothing of what will come of it. After observing the entirety of the glowing galaxy, you enter some weird quantum realm where you can see all of the galaxies in a forest known as the Ancient Glade. There's a lot of time to kill here, so that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Thinking back to when I first started, Outer Wilds was not what it seemed at all. My expectations were really low, seeing as the game came from an indie developer. Everything felt natural, as if it was a playground more than anything else. As I discovered more and more, it just seemed to be regular events that occurred with the Nomai. However, as each puzzle was solved, I was given another piece to a larger puzzle. Everything fit together almost seamlessly. Now, what does that have to do with the ending? Well, Outer Wilds has been able to take a finite concept and make it infinite. What it does so well is take that away from you. Each step you take in the ending is set in stone. Once you put the core into the vessel, there's no going back. Once you warp to the eye, there's no going back. Once you enter the eye, there's no going back. Finally, once you observe, there's no going back. Within the absence of light, you can expect many things to happen. You're in the eye of the universe, after all. Soon after some flickering of your flashlight, you appear. How? Well, I have nothing concrete, but I believe this may be a superposition of you. As to why you observing it doesn't cause only one possibility to happen, well, I think being in a quantum realm requires a little more input than that. A quick transition. We're back in a forest. More to our proper scale. After looking around and gaining a full scope of your surroundings, all there is present is a campfire. Esker in the darkness. Is Esker alive? Are you alive? Talking to him doesn't yield much information. Only the phrase, "Do you hear music?" Sounds a little arbitrary, doesn't it? Well, it's for a good reason. And your signal scope will reveal why. As you can see, this building is similar to that of Brittle Hollow's architecture. Take advantage of some quantum principles to cause a very quick decay, and grab Rybeck's banjo. Returning to the campfire reveals that Rybeck is there too, exclaiming that it's not quite time yet, and urging you to be patient. For someone who knows nothing about the situation, he seems very informed about what's going on. The signal scope reveals a few new locations of sounds. The harmonica leads to a ghastly angler encounter, followed up by a pleasant surprise of small glowing jellyfish. 2 instruments down. Approaching a telescope reveals a plethora of suns, and using the zoom function, the signal scope allows you to collect the drums. 3 instruments down. The next signal comes from a tree of all things. The quiet shade. A cross-old bark. In the ancient glade. It's always dark. Pretty ominous, right? Floating up reveals the next instrument on the hammock. 4 instruments down. If you've interacted with Solanum in any way, you'll see the 5th signal, and it's a piano? I'll just let this scene speak for itself. Everyone is here. However real they are, their musical talents remain. With some sort of emotional atmosphere, the synchronized instruments make a harmonic convergence. With nothing else to do, and no turning back, collapse the fog sphere. And one last thing. Once you collapse the innumerable possibilities, there's no going back. No matter how much of this video you've watched, I only have my thanks to give. The creation of this video started over 3 months ago. Through schoolwork and keeping my channel alive, I've been working on this in the background, and I'm so proud that I'm finally able to complete it. This also was done with the help of many members from the Outer Wilds community. No matter how long you've been watching my channel, whether it be months or years, or even if you just found my channel, please consider subscribing, and thanks for watching.